We are going to go over the worksheet for Genesis chapter 44. Genesis chapter 44 was all about Benjamin. That's totally what it was about. It was about Joseph's relationship with Benjamin. So Joseph, and remember in Genesis chapter 43, he had a dinner with his brothers in his home, and everyone was the brothers at a different table, the Egyptians at a different table, and Joseph was at a different table. So they were leaving, and he did it again. Joseph set up his brother again, but this time it was a particular brother. I'm sorry, there's a net flying around again. A particular brother. Is Benjamin. So the silver cup was found in Benjamin's where he was setting up Benjamin's bag, and so this cup is something that's familiar for divination, and so the divination is something that the Egyptians do. So when they came to Joseph, Joseph said, "This, don't you know that I can use divination?" He totally wanted them to believe through and through that he was an Egyptian. It was not that he actually did divination. He just did not want his brothers to know who he was at all. And so this is why he said it, because we know through the Bible evidence of Joseph being led by the Spirit of Jehovah. So his brothers said, whoever had the cup must die, and the rest of us can be slaves, because they was for sure that they did not have this item on in their possession, but they did. So what was going on was the very thing that Israel, the father, was afraid of happening, that he was going to lose Benjamin to Egypt. Now, Judah took responsibility. He took responsibility of Benjamin, because remember, he told Israel, I will be responsible for Benjamin, but he also took responsibility of what he did to his brother Joseph. He thought he was repaying for what he did. Now, because Judah was able to stand up and say, basically, standing up and taking accountability and trying to protect Benjamin, in this conversation, Judah was letting Joseph know, unaware that it was Joseph, how Israel the father felt when he thought that his son was dead. Joseph had no idea how his father felt, or what his father knew until this happened. This was the first time he heard it. And Judah continues. You see, I have a lot of notes for Genesis chapter 43. So Judah continues, and he offered himself in the place of Benjamin and also for the rest of his brothers. Now, this also leads me to the questions that I had. Now, I did have one question. What was Joseph's aim? My thought was that he really just wanted Benjamin, because remember, he told him, I'll take Benjamin, and he was sending the other brothers away to go to their father. He had no intention, I don't believe, of letting the brothers know who he was. He was just going to keep Benjamin and send the rest on their way. But also, that was that one question. But I also find as an insight fascinating that Judah is the one who offered up himself as a servant. When we know the master, the Messiah, comes from his bloodline, offers himself as a sin offering, paying the death penalty for the world. I just find it fascinating that this is the bloodline that the Messiah is coming from, for someone who was willing to sacrifice his freedom to servitude in order to save his brothers from this, preventing that from happening to Benjamin and the rest of them. Now, my question for all of this, when does the conversation with Israel the father comes up about his sons selling Joseph, their brother, into slavery? I'm hoping that we'll be able to answer the questions in these last 5 chapters. Hopefully, if we don't, we don't. But that's the question that I had. And we're going to see if that question is going to be answered as we continue on.